Look at this world. It's beautiful. You see the animals, you hear them. You see the water. But off in the distance, you hear the cars. And you see the man-made structures we have around here. Off to the far right, you could see the towers, power lines. It's an interesting thing. To some regard, this area kind of just shows that life, two different lives, can coexist with one another. Might have been a difficult thing at first, but with being able to adapt and evolve to a situation given to you, you can find a way to make peace with it. There's so much that's happening here. People walking around celebrating Mother's Day. People just relaxing and fishing. And then there are the animals. See the geese, birds. I don't know all the bird species, so I can't really name that one. But it's around. It's here. There's so much to learn about coexistence with one another. Don't get me wrong, it is difficult. It's not an easy walk in the park, pun intended, but we can make it happen. We just need to be able to find ways to do so. We have a lot that happens in our lives. We're human. We worry about the future, about the past. If we did something wrong, what can we do to be better? All these things, all these thoughts that consume us. That's our life. But that's okay. Might be scary doing it alone, but this world is huge. We still got people around, even if we ain't with them. And if you ain't feeling like you ain't got people with you, look right here in front of me. See the animals, see the water, see the flapping of a bird passing by. You see the earth. You're in this earth with all these animals, all these plants, with the dirt or sand, wherever you may be. But we're all here. It's peaceful, just existence sometimes. Because existence can't be hard, but, taking this moment to relax and just exist is one of the greatest things we could do for ourselves, so we can be better. Might not be the wisest person in this world, but I'm still learning. And what I do at the very least is try to teach others right here with this video. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't know if you could hear me well, but I'm just speaking. And if I'm just a mumbling voice in the background, that's all good too, I guess. Why? Because it's simple. As you enjoy the view, listen to the birds chirp by. In and out as you may go listen to my voice, you're finding some kind of peace within yourself. Granted, there are some people who prefer more of a bustling city or town that is more peaceful to them. But at the very least, being able to be at a moment in nature, somewhat far away from everything else in this world, it's nice. These geese communicate with one another, and we won't understand them. But they're here, just existing, doing as they were made to do, right? Eat, sleep, find food, find areas to just crap around and do all the things that geese do. That's just the way of life. There's so much to appreciate. But one thing we need to appreciate the most is ourselves. I hate to imagine a world where we ain't existing well with each other. Where we ain't able to talk one-on-one and actually be civil, even if we disagree. I don't want to imagine that world where everybody's just fighting constantly, ignoring one another, trying to one-up one another. That's just stupid. One thing this world likes to do more than anything is to move on, no matter the consequences. Time will keep moving forward, the days will pass by, the seasons will change. But see, emotions, those are tricky. Those will stay no matter what. They can change, but if you decide to stay stuck with that feeling you have inside yourself, then you'll never be able to find that peace within yourself. I remember one of my classes talked about forgiving those who done wrong for you, done wrong to you, and it helped those individuals. It's a weird concept, but in some way it's about letting go. It's about moving on, pushing forward, not letting the past have a hold on you. Granted, not everyone in this world's going to change, but you yourself, you could try to change. You can try to do better. Maybe slowly, there'll be more people who will change too. There'll be more people who'll be willing to understand themselves and each other more. Be able to stop the hate. It's a loud and quiet world we live in, with nothing and everything to give. A question to ask yourself: what's one thing you could do for yourself to do better, to be better? I remember for me, with my own self journey, right, when I was struggling with my mind, I was going to college at the time. One of the rougher years of my life. And one thing I'd like to do is just find somewhere to sit down and just be. No phone, no nothing. Just exist in that moment. Regardless of what I was feeling. Regardless if I was in a rush to go somewhere. I'd put it on pause. And I'd watch the people go by on campus, rushing to their school, to their next classes. Or I'll see some friends walking by, talking, having a good time. And there'd be those who'd be wearing about what might happen. You could see it on their faces. You could see that in most people's faces. But still, I just sat there and existed. It was definitely a more informative year of my life. And I appreciated that I gave myself that time to learn a bit more about being at peace within myself and at the moment, regardless of what was happening within myself. See, one thing I like to say, and forgive me if I've already said this in one of my previous videos, but everybody talks about trying to find peace within silence, right? Because the silence can be so deafening, because you're all alone with your thoughts, struggling and fighting it, right? Because you're all alone. That's a tough battle. But I think there's an even tougher one. And that's with noise. What I mean by noise is when you're out there with friends, when you're out there with family, when you're out there having a good time, knowing that everything is not okay, can you find peace within the noise? Or will you let it consume you? Because to some regard, being out there with friends and family and having a grand old time, it's a distraction. It's a distraction from yourself internally, trying to do better. It's a distraction to numb away the pain that eats at you. And, if you're able to find peace within silence, great. But you need to make sure you're doing it while you're with other people. Because if you don't, it'll eat you up again. It'll come back and bite you. And then you're right back where you were. Another thing to talk about distractions, I remember I was talking to some co-workers of mine, both girls, but they were talking about love, and one of them talking about how they struggle to communicate what they want to say. I understand that. It's hard talking about what you want. It's hard trying to explain to others what you want them to know about you or what you want to get across. But you need to fight inside yourself so you can't say those things. And see, one thing that they brought up was drinking. Have a couple glasses of wine, drink a bit of liquor, alcohol, and then let your loose lips and let it be what you want to say. But that's not the way to go about it. You're just distracting yourself. You're not making any progress. You need to force yourself to be able to be okay with confrontation. I remember with my ex, right? There were times where we had fights. And sometimes there were conversations I just didn't want to have with her. I tried to shy away from it. But I forced myself to talk about it, to bring it up. So that way I wouldn't hide from myself, so I could be able to understand her better, to understand what to do, what I did wrong, or to understand how she's feeling, what she wants to say, right? I remember how difficult those times were. Felt like I was suffocating. Sometimes I'd mask myself by making jokes during the moment, or I'd just stay silent and not speak at all because I couldn't figure out what to say. But I fought to try to find the words to say. And even when there were times where we'd be getting into a heated discussion, where I'd be driving her back home, we'd be sitting in the car in silence for good whiles. She lived far away from me, right? Almost an hour away. But regardless of the time, there were long periods of silence in those moments. And eventually, because I'd be fighting with myself saying, I have to make sure I say something. If I don't, I'm just going to be hating myself. It's just going to be eating me alive. And so I'd feel my heart race. I'd feel my mouth dry up. I'd be looking around, just trying to make sense of where I was at the moment, just so I know. I understood there was nothing else I can do but actually say what I had to. And plus I'd speak. And we'd speak. And we'd express what we're feeling and what we're thinking. And then afterwards we'd come to understanding each other again. There are certain moments in our lives that we need to learn, that will be teaching and defining moments for us. We need to be willing to accept it as it comes. But also understand not to force yourself all the way, because if you push yourself too hard, you'll fall as well. There's always increments and steps you need to take for yourself, right? I understood myself, I was stubborn. So I'd always push and fight as much as I can, even if it caused me problems. I was a hard ass. Stubborn as a mule. But, that's what worked for me. Other people might need more time, might need a moment more, take a step away. But when they're able to come back, then that's their time. Everybody's different in this life with how they want to communicate. But we need to be able to communicate. Ce n'est pas une vie qui est possible. It's impossible. It's not an impossible life. Apologies for the very bad French accent. Studied French, but never too good at it. Mind you, I took French for about maybe 6 years. 4 years in high school, and then 2 in my college years. So about 6 years. But never had much time to practice it, and also I can never understand the he's and she's and all that for French. Like, what's masculine, what's feminine on the words that are being said. So I just say what I say. And I'll make sure the structure's in a more English version of French. Huh? That's how I am with my Spanish too. Well, that's how we learn. Make mistakes. Have people help you. It's okay to be helped. It's okay to want help. You just need to be willing to accept it or ask for it. Make sure you bite your tongue, so that way you'll be able to open your mouth and say the words you need to say. I need help. We can all use help from time to time. And that's okay. Just don't give up on yourself. You're still here. That's what matters. You're still living. You're still breathing. That's what matters. Try to see what happens the next day and the days that follow. Sometimes it might seem like the days might be repetitive, but you can always do things to spice it up and change it. After all, you have control of your own life. This world doesn't own you. Well, there are certain degrees that this world does, but you're still your own person, your own individual. You can do what you need to do for what's right. You just don't have to give up. Anyways, this be the end of my video for right now. So I say one last time. Be safe, be free, and fly high. Have a good night.